Diane in Denmark here, rah, rah, rah. It's Friday and we made it to the end of another week, hooray! Let me just put down my pom-poms. This is going to be a Hygge video. I'm going to be talking about what I've been reading recently, and I was catching up on movies over the summer, Marvel movies, DC Comics movies, and some other stuff. If you haven't already done your morning routine, evening routine, please get that done before you start watching YouTube stuff. And if you use YouTube to kind of work along and motivate you, please set your timer before you start, because the last thing I want is anybody, watching my videos and then being stuck on their big bahookie and not getting moving. Anyway, if you're here for Hygge, that's great. And otherwise, if you're at the office, maybe you want to dust off your desk, look in a wee drawer and do a quick declutter. Or if you're at home, fold that laundry if you've got laundry lying on the sofa for some strange reason. So anyway, get that done while you listen. And I love making these Hygge videos about, books and reading and stuff, because a lot of you are not taking the time for yourself every day. A bit of pamper time, call it what you want. You can call it self-care, self-preservation is a good word for it, because you've got to take time for you every day, even just 10 minutes, reading a book, a magazine, getting your feet up, watching something that you enjoy on TV. Take time for yourself, okay? Because I know we're all kind of rushing around trying to get things done and working and laundry and the kids and activities, but you've got to take time for you. So anyway, let's dive into it. And also at the end I'll do a wee roundup, because it is Friday. If you're following the Flylady system, what we're doing on a Friday, I've got baskets of stuff started. Anyway, books and magazines. And I even made a wee list because there were so many kind of fun things that came up. I'll start with the books first. Now, you know me, I get all my books from the library. I have very different reading tastes from my husband. My husband likes to own the books, keep the books. You've seen all the books that we have in our house. I'm the type, I read it and then I pass it on. And I get my books at the library or clothes swaps or our local book exchanges. Last time we chatted, I had just read a book by Laura Purcell, hope I got the name right, called The Poison Thread, or it may also be called The Corset, depending on which country you're in. It goes under a couple of names. And I told you I loved that one. 4 or 5 out of 5 stars. I read it in a couple of days. And I found another one that she had written previously called The Silent Companions. Now, I got that from our local library. I actually got it on download as an ebook. And I have to say it was a bit disappointing. It's written in a different style from the Corset, The Poison Thread. And it just, there was something about it that kind of jarred with me. So I wasn't so keen on that one. So I'd say 3 out of 5 stars. But if you're into kind of gothic stuff, maybe you want to try that. The other one that I picked up from the library, you maybe just saw on the very end of the last video that I made about books, was by Sophie Hannah. Hope I got the name right, somebody will correct me. And she writes in the style of Agatha Christie, new Hercule Poirot novels. Now, she's done a couple of them. One of them I didn't like, and I've done a review of it before, I'm sure. This one, I think it was called something like the Tale of the Three Quarters or something like that. And I really enjoyed that one. So if you're into Agatha Christie, and I've been through all the Agatha Christie books, if you're like me, I've done them all several times over, you might want to check that one out. Now, some things which I've also been reading recently, this is my not my Hygge basket, this is my library basket, stuff that we get from the library. So it's all kind of in the same place. Then when I go to the library, I can, take it all back, or, what needs to be handed in. One of the ones that I was in the queue for at the library, which I'd ordered, was another Ellie Griffiths. Now, I love Ellie Griffiths. She writes several different series, and this is a standalone one, I believe, or it's a new series, and it's called The Stranger Dies. Haven't started it yet, but this is a book that I'm starting tonight, so I'm really looking forward to that. I'm trying not to read anything about it and just jump right into it. But if you look at my previous videos, you know I love Ellie Griffiths, and she writes about, one of her series is about a female archaeologist in Britain in modern day times. So you may want to have a look at that. And I know a lot of you have also discovered Ellie Griffiths and are loving her. Now here's one that I picked up at our library, and again I read this in 2 or 3 days. It was really appealed to me, and I picked it up by chance at the library. I liked the cover, and it's by a Korean writer called Eun Soo Kim. I hope I pronounced that correctly. And I picked it up, and when I read the back I thought, okay, this is definitely something that I'm going to like. And somebody who's reviewing it says it's imagine a mashup of Tarantino and Camus, Quentin Tarantino and Albert Camus. There's the info about it. And I really enjoyed it. Now it's really dark and gritty. It's about a hitman who is orphaned, and he grows up in this weird library. But I absolutely love this one, so I'm going to see if I can find some more things by him. I really like a Japanese writer called Kigo Higashino, and it's very much the same style, very clear, concise writing. I really enjoy that. If I've mentioned Kigo Higashino before, if you want a really good place to start with Kigo Higashino, try Newcomer. And I'm actually thinking of rereading that one because it's set in Nihonbashi in Tokyo, and we've stayed in the Nihonbashi area before, and it's a really it's not as gruesome as this one, and it's kind of a whole set of little stories which are connected, and it's all part of a murder mystery. So if you haven't tried Korean writer or a Japanese writer before, you might want to take a look at those. And here, just to show you, this was, I showed you when we came back from Japan, I like to keep entrance tickets and things, and I use those as bookmarks. So there we are, I was using that one. So this one's now going back to the library. And one that I had come onto my radar recently was a book by a monk. Now I can't remember where I read about him. Anyway, I went onto our local library's website, and lo and behold, they had it. I was in the queue for it, but I'm now front of the queue, and I got it. It's by, I think, a Korean monk. Let me see. I can't see where it's from. Anyway, there's the name there. Haemin Sunim. And it's called Love for Imperfect Things. And this is a really nice little book. I'm not into these kind of self-help and feel-good books, but it's a nice, pleasant read. I haven't read too much of it yet. You can see it's got nice illustrations, and it's little anecdotes and stories, and about being good to yourself. Here we go again, self-care, and citations, and so it's a nice little book. And it reminded me a bit of, do you remember? Must have been 2 years ago now. I got this book, the Shukei Matsumoto one, a monk's guide to a clean house and mind. Now I've told you before, normally I just get books and then I hand them on. This one I kept, and it was a real funny one. I'll put the link up there, but all the things that I've done about books, films, television, Netflix, they're on the Hygge playlist. This one really rammed home why the Flylady system would work for you. Just the same as the Atomic Habits book. It just explains the kind of psychological sense of why Flylady system works, whereas the Atomic Habits book shows you like the nuts and bolts of why it works. So anyway, I'm looking forward to reading more of that one. You might want to check it out, or check it out of your library. Oh, and also when I was in the library, I picked up these pamphlets. Now these are things which are going on at our library in the coming season, and you know our library is full of good things and all different clubs, and this is the part for the grown-ups. It shows you what's coming up for grown-ups, and then if you go this way, it shows you what is planned for kids and toddlers and stuff. But one of the things I did notice, let me see if I can just find it. Oh yeah, one of the things which is coming up in the month of December will be, you can drop by our local library and you can pleat some paper hearts, weave some paper hearts. So, and if you don't know about weaving paper hearts, I've done a lot of craft videos with my bestie Vibeke. They're on the playlist about Denmark thing, or the crafts playlist. I'll pop it up there. And also our local libraries, they have so many reading clubs. And even if you can't get to a physical reading club, maybe you can find something online, you know, connect with people. Now this is just to show you that this is from our local library. You've got reading clubs about important Danish women, fathers and sons. There's Jonathan Safran format. My husband loves his books, and my daughter. African history, climate and science fiction. Oh, here's one about rock legends. Do you want to be in a book club reading about rock legends? Let me just tell you who they're reading about. Bruce Springsteen, Red Hot Chili Peppers, Patti Smith, Save Jørgensen, he's a Danish artist, Nick Cave, my husband also loves Nick Cave. So, you know, maybe you can, this going into the autumn winter season, maybe you want to check out, you know, get into a book group, or you can just chime in here and tell me what you're reading. I also got a couple of magazines from the library. I've mentioned this one before, The Simple Things. I have to say, this one, and normally I really enjoy this magazine, and this one I got a bit annoyed with, and I'll tell you why. You know when magazines put things on the front to kind of pull you in, just like those headlines on the news. That's why I never watch the news or read news stuff. This one says Weekend Comfort. Now this is from the February edition. It's all very hoogly, and they're just baking bread. And it says Weekend Comforts, dressing gowns, overnight baguettes and orange drizzle cake. And I thought, oh, overnight baguettes, that sounds really good, because I have a recipe, a really simple one. I'll need to do a video about it, where you kind of mix everything together the night before. Just you stir it actually together in a bowl. There's no kneading or anything involved. With a tiny bit of yeast, leave it on the counter. Next morning, you use a spoon to drop them onto your baking parchment, into the oven, and then you go and have your shower, get ready, and when you come back, rolls are ready. And I thought, oh, overnight baguettes, that sounds good. When you look at the recipe, you have to use your own sourdough starter. Sorry, I've got no time to start doing sourdough. And then you have to make it the night before, and then the next morning you've got to knead it, the dough, and then let it rise another 2 hours. And for me, that is not a kind of easy to go recipe, but anyway, I'm just joking, of course. It's a nice little magazine. So if you don't know that one, it's a British kind of Hygge magazine. And also took another one of the Danish ones. Femina is a weekly mag. I can't remember if it's weekly or twice weekly. I don't have any subscriptions to magazines or newspapers, because it's a lot of money for stuff that you can read, you know, in half an hour, or we can get it from the library. So that's those. And then I had picked up this one at the library, and I said I would come back to you about it. I thought it was kind of like, you know, kind of minimalist, decluttering thing. This book, Fewer Better Things by Glenn Adamson, you can see it there. He talks about, you know, it's more about artisans crafting things, about the value of things, about Alexander McQueen, you know, the clothes designer, how he got started, and, you know, the work that goes into stuff. So not something that really interested me, though there was at the very end, very last page, and I'll just mention it here because it's very obvious into what we're all trying to do. Okay, and he's talking about things here. We have to stop adding things to our lives unless the things really matter, attend to the things that are already there, and above all, find meaningful ways to connect to each other. I mean, this is what we're trying to do, isn't it? We're trying to stop bringing more clutter into our lives, and just kind of look after what we've got, you know, a wee spot of cleaning, upkeep, you know, look after what you've already got and use it and love it. And also reach out and connect with others. So I got something from the book anyway. A nice way to wrap up the book. Oh, and this was just a magazine that had in my reading basket. Do you remember I talked about Ernst, who's a Swedish guy who does DIY, crafts, cookery? This is a magazine that we get through the door in Sweden. It's a free magazine thing, and there you can see him. And if you are in Sweden or have access to Swedish Television, he has a program that I've been watching over the summer where he does, there it is, and he's always kind of making stuff and cooking and lots of inspiration. Very Hygge television. So that's Ernst. You can grilla med Ernst, that's, you know, having a barbecue with Ernst. So that's all very Hygge. So that was it for the books. And let me just grab my list for films, because there were a lot of films came out over the summer, of course. Movies is a big time for the cinema people. And I didn't get to see Spider-Man. I was hoping to see it with the kids. And I said to them, you know, will you be going to see it with your friends? No, probably not. I said, well, we'll go and watch it together. And then, of course, my daughter goes off and sees it with some of her friends, and my son does the same. So I haven't seen Spider-Man yet. Didn't see Men in Black 4. Not sure if it's really worth it. The trailer didn't look great. And I didn't manage to see John Wick. I don't know what number we're on now, number 27 or something. I like the John Wick films. They're so over the top. Extremely violent, of course, but, you know, each their own. A film that I did see in the cinema, and I'm not sure if I mentioned it last time. My husband read the book The Sisters Brothers. Okay, not the brothers sisters, The Sisters Brothers, and he loved the book. And we went to see the film, and I wasn't sure about it. And I have to say, I really didn't like it. Not my cup of tea at all. And also my husband thought it was dreadful, so I was glad I was not the only one. But and I watched the trailer for it, and I don't know, it's the same with those misleading titles that you have on magazines. The trailer for it looked really good, kind of like a Tarantino film, and it had fun music, and you thought, oh, this looks good. And the music had nothing to do with the feeling or, you know, the vibe of the film at all. So anyway, Sisters, Brothers, wouldn't bother with that. And the other films that I've seen this summer, I didn't see them in the cinema. I actually saw them on the airplane going from here to Tokyo when we were going for holidays in Japan. And I love being on those long flights. I mean, the flight to Tokyo from Copenhagen, it's a direct flight, takes about 11 hours. But I love being able to put my headphones on and go through all the films that I missed at the cinema, or films that I wouldn't have seen at the cinema, but I still want to know what they look like. And I'm able to fast forward through the bits that I don't like. So I wrote down the ones that I saw on the plane. I went through the kind of Disney things, and you know, the new Mary Poppins, which was quite good, but all that singing and dancing is not me. Dumbo, oh, definitely I know I'm not the kind of target audience for Dumbo, but I just thought that was painful. Ones that I did like, I was really surprised by Captain Marvel and Aquaman. Now, I mentioned to you before, I went to see Endgame Avengers recently, and I was so disappointed after all the hype. There were just too many superheroes spoiling the broth for me. So I was kind of, and I think it was because I wasn't expecting anything. I thought, don't think I'm going to like this. Anyway, the Captain Marvel one with Carol Danvers, it was really entertaining. You know, it's a plot twist, and it's her origin story. I really enjoyed that. So, and also that then, because also they had Endgame Avengers on the plane, I could go back and look at the bit where she comes in at the end. And I thought, I really like her as an actress. I don't know who on earth she is, and I'd never seen her before, but she's really well cast in the role. I think she's a type 3, you know, in the Dressing of Truth system. And she came over as a really good, really sassy superhero. So I really enjoyed that. And then we need to talk about Aquaman, because I had seen Aquaman was in, you know, the cinema here, and I was thinking, and the kids weren't interested in going to see it. And I know it's really kind of divided people, but I thought, oh well, I'll give it a try. You know what? I was thoroughly entertained, and I even watched it on the way back from Tokyo. Now, I have to say it's totally over the top. Aquaman, it's really, really cheesy, but as I said, I was thoroughly entertained. And also, if you've seen Aquaman, you will know like the first scene where you see him as a grown-up, he kind of comes into the submarine to kind of fight with the baddies, and he kind of drops down, and he's all, you know, tattooed and muscular, and then he's got this really long curly hair, and then he kind of flicks it back, and then looks coyly at the camera and says, "Permission to board." Go and Google it or look for a YouTube clip of it. It has me in fits of laughter every time I see it. It just makes me smile. And I really enjoyed, you know, the underwater scenes. You know, I'm a skinny dipper. I'm down at the sea almost every day of the year. I loved the thing. So you know, there's a lot of cheese in it. But I think he's going to become one of my other favourite superheroes, along with Iron Man. He's really not clever at all. He's the opposite of Iron Man in that way. But he's like Iron Man in that he does his own thing, and he's not the kind of all goody-goody type. You know, Captain America, I really can't be doing with him because he's such a squeaky clean guy. So I much prefer Iron Man and Aquaman. They're going to be my two new favourites. Anyway, what else did I say? Oh, and I also saw another film on the plane. Gosh, I saw lots of them. I can't even remember what else. I saw one with Donnie Yen. Now, you know that my daughter and I, we quite like martial arts films. She goes to martial arts herself. And I've mentioned the Ip Man films. Donnie Yen is Ip Man in the Ip Man films. And Donnie Yen, if you don't know martial arts films, he was in the Rogue One Star Wars film. Rogue One, or Rouge One if you want to write it incorrectly. He was Chirrut Imwe, you know, the one who says, "I am one with the Force and the Force is with me." That's Donnie Yen. Anyway, he also does for the I think he's Chinese, yeah, for the Chinese market, kind of like superhero films, not superhero, but more like a kind of Indiana Jones type thing. And he's in these films called Iceman, the time traveler. And I watched that. It was in Chinese with English subtitles. And again, you know, you've got to suspend belief, and it's very cheesy, but it was really entertaining. So it was a bit like kind of Indiana Jones, but with martial arts and really beautiful scenery, just like in Kingdom on Netflix, you know, the shrines and temples and stuff. So, so that was entertaining. Also because they had made him look about 20 years younger than he really is. I mean, he's about 4 or 5 years older than me. I mean, I'm 52, I think he's like 57. And in the film, he looks like he's in his 20s. They've really gone overboard with the hair dye. But anyway, it was fun. So I watched that and probably some other things on the plane. And the last thing, just because how can we not talk about the main thing on Netflix over summer, which was Stranger Things 3. Now, I know a lot of you, like us, we love Stranger Things. It's the mix of that kind of 80s thing, and then for those of us who are old enough to remember, the music, those awful clothes. I really wasn't into 80s fashions. But my son and I, we said to each other, okay, we're not going to binge watch it. And it came out, was it 4th of July? Yeah. We're not going to binge watch it. We'll take one episode a day. And you know what happened on the first episode? I said, shall we take one more? And he's like, Mum, no, stop. So he was being the grown-up. So we watched it over, was it 7, 8 episodes of this one? 6 episodes. Anyway, we thoroughly enjoyed it. Also, you know, with Steve and Dustin, fantastic stuff going on there. And if you watch the very end of the credits, it looks like there may be a Stranger Things 4. Hooray! So, anyway, I'm going to wrap up here. It is Friday, and I don't want to, gosh, I've been talking for ages already. Anyway, Friday in Flylady Land, it is clean out your purse, you know, handbag. I'm going to be going through mine and my swimming bag. I've already taken out the towel. I have washed my china cup. You know, we have our tea down there, china cup. And people are always asking, how do we transport our china cups in a Tupperware box so they don't smash? But usually nice things every day, you know, I appreciate the good things, make every day special. And the other thing that I'm going to be doing today, you know, if you got a car fill up with petrol, we use our bikes here in Denmark for work and school, so it's not often I have to fill up the car with petrol. The other thing is date night. My husband and I, we prefer to stay home in Hygge, but what I do, as you've seen before, is make a big basket with the family's favourite snacks. In Denmark, kids don't eat sweets every day of the week. You normally get sweets on a Friday. So this is kind of the idea behind our basket. I put together a basket of the family's favourite snacks and we enjoy them over the weekend together. And as my son is now back to high school, my daughter's not back to high school yet, I've started with a really big bag of his favourite things, which is Matador mix. And these ones, skolekridt, which means school chalk, which is one of the only things that I don't like about Denmark. Licorice, it's a kind of licorice thing. What was I going to say about that? Oh yeah, we don't eat, in our family we don't eat dessert, and we don't do sweets the rest of the week. So this is our kind of weekend Hygge sweet basket. Anyway, on that note, I'm going to get going. I hope you have a fantastic weekend. I'll see you on Instagram over the weekend, and I'll be back on YouTube next week. I've filmed so many good things in Japan. I'm kind of overwhelmed about which video to make first. So anyway, I'm just going to dive in and get started on those. So anyway, live long and prosper, whether you're into Star Wars, into DC, Marvel, Star Trek, whatever floats your boat. Hope you get some reading done this weekend, or just at least some kind of pamper time, and I shall see you next week. Okay, live long and prosper. Bye for now.